still basically playing at the top. Wonderful to see, and I'm very happy for them.
A lot of chances on the returning games, and I am really happy with how I played and also how I fight.
The Pietrangeli court in Rome is ringed by ancient marble statues, the kind that have watched tennis on this clay for almost a century. On Friday afternoon, those statues watched something they had never seen before. A 20-year-old from Manila, down 0-3 in the opening set, clawing back to win 6 of the next 7 games against the 31st seed in the world.
I will see her matches and try to prepare as best as I can. Of course, advantage is my serves, no matter who is on the other side, so I need to take care of that.
No Filipino, man or woman, has ever done this in Rome. Not in 58 years of the Open era. Not once. Until Alex Eala did it twice in 3 days. And what she said about a building near the Vatican walls might be the most Filipino sentence ever spoken at a tennis tournament.
And I know that I can do well. I'm a much better player physically, mentally than I was.
7 days earlier, the picture looked nothing like this. May 1st, 2026, Madrid. Elise Mertens dismantled Eala 6-2, 6-1 in 60 minutes flat. Tennis Twitter did what tennis Twitter does. Questioned whether her game even belonged on European clay, whether the Dubai run was the ceiling, whether Rome would expose her completely. She withdrew from her planned warm-up tournament. She flew straight to the Foro Italico. And then the week of May 6th began. Understand the scale of what she was walking into. The Internazionale BNL d'Italia has been staged since 1930. The Open era began in 1968. In the nearly 6 decades since, no player from the Philippines, not a single one, in either draw, had ever appeared in the Rome main draw, let alone won a match in it. That is not a slump. That is not a drought. That is a void. Then the draw delivered the cruelest possible second round. Wang Xinyu. The same Wang Xinyu who 4 months earlier in Auckland had ended Eala's dream semifinal run 5-7, 7-5, 6-4. Wang arrived in Rome as the number 31 seed, world number 32, the favorite on every projection. And in the opening 15 minutes, every fear Filipino fans carried looked like prophecy. Madrid hangover, Auckland trauma, slow clay punishing a left-hander who was supposedly out of her surface. Wang led 3-0. The villain narrative was writing itself. And then Eala stopped letting it. Start 2 days before that, on Wednesday, May 6th, Magdalena Frech, world number 45, the Polish veteran who had every reason to expect a comfortable afternoon. Eala took the first set 6-0, lost the second 3-6, won the decider 6-4 in 2 hours and 7 minutes on a rain-affected court. The WTA's own match desk confirmed the line that had been waiting almost 60 years to be written. The first main draw win by any Filipino, man or woman, in the Open era at the Italian Open. 1 match, 1 wall, down. But 1 win can be a fluke. The Wang rematch was the verdict on whether this was real. Down 0-3 in the first set, on the same Roman clay where the Auckland Ghost was supposed to come for her, Eala turned the match inside out. Final score, 6-4, 6-3. Time on court, 1 hour and 26 minutes. Reported double faults, 0. Head-to-head against Wang, now level at 1-1. The opponent who had defined her last heartbreak was the opponent who defined her biggest breakthrough. Listen to her own description of how she did it. Eala told reporters she has been trying to stay in that suffering kind of zone, embracing physical discomfort as the price of belonging on this surface. That is not the language of a player surviving the tour. That is the language of a player learning to weaponize it. Now layer in the statistic almost no one has surfaced: 16 match wins across 10 tournaments in 2026. Per the WTA's own editorial desk, that is more than any other left-handed player in women's tennis this season. Not the most among Filipinos, not the most among Southeast Asians, the most, period, on the WTA Tour. If you were one of the fans who watched the Dubai quarterfinal last year and told everyone within earshot that this was a top 20 player hiding inside a top 50 ranking, the data has now stopped arguing with you. The mainstream tennis press is finally writing the sentences you were posting in 2025. 2 firsts in one match. First Filipino in open-era history to reach a third round in Rome. First Filipino in history to reach the third round of any WTA 1000 on clay. Live ranking jump from number 42 to number 38. A new career high pending the next result. But the moment that broke Filipino timelines on Friday was not a scoreline. It was a walk. Between matches this week, Eala passed a building in Rome flying a Filipino flag. She told the Associated Press, "I was like, okay, we really are everywhere." And then I later learned that that's the embassy of the Philippines to the Vatican. And funny story, my great-grandmother, she used to work there way back when. So it was full circle or something sentimental. Read that again. A 20-year-old breaking new ground in Rome, retracing her own great-grandmother's footsteps to the Holy See. Her history was not just being made, it was being matched. When a Filipino sports outlet calls something historic, the world can shrug. When the WTA's own editorial desk, the institutional record keepers of women's tennis, the body that certifies every ranking, every result, every open-era footnote across the global tour, writes the sentence, the world has to listen. In the official match recap published May 8, 2026, the WTA called Eala the first player from the Philippines to appear in the Internazionale BNL d'Italia in the open era, and added a phrase usually reserved for genuine inflection points. They wrote that, history is on the line again for Eala. That language did not come from a fan blog. It came from the same desk that has chronicled Serena, Sharapova, Venus, Henin, and every Italian Open champion of the modern era. And the Associated Press, syndicated to every major newsroom on Earth, pushed the story onto the global wire by describing her as a worldwide sensation among the large Filipino diaspora. When 2 of the most authoritative voices in tennis coverage independently certify the same paragraph, the debate is over. Now look forward. Saturday or Sunday, depending on the schedule, Eala plays Elena Rybakina, world number 2, 2022 Wimbledon champion, the player who, on Friday, dispatched Maria Sakkari 6-4, 6-1 like an afterthought. Rybakina enters with a 24-2 record in completed WTA 1000 matches when she wins the first set, and a 12-match opening round win streak at this level. A win for Eala would not be an upset. It would be a redrawing of the map. She would become the first Filipino in history, man or woman, open era, to reach the round of 16 in Rome, and only the second woman representing an Asian country to claim a top 5 win at this event, the other being Rybakina herself. And the calendar is not slowing down. Roland Garros begins May 24th. Eala is on track to arrive in Paris as a borderline seed on her supposedly worst surface, fresh off the kind of run that flips a player's narrative from promising to dangerous. The juniors watching her in Manila this week are no longer studying a foreign idol from a YouTube clip. They are studying a living blueprint who speaks their language and walks past their flag in Rome. Do not forget where this week started. 6-2, 1-6, 60 minutes, Madrid. There was no defiant social media post afterward, no staged confidence. She withdrew, she traveled, she went back to work. Asked about the team guiding her through this stretch, she told reporters, "I have a great team, very knowledgeable, and they are definitely guiding me and navigating me through this phase of the tour. I trust in them a lot. What I've been trying to do is just be very patient. 5 days after the worst loss of her clay season, she was making history. 2 days after that, she was doing it again. Rewind the tape on this week. May 1st, a 60-minute Madrid demolition that had critics writing her clay obituary. May 6th, the first Filipino main draw win at Rome in 58 open-era years. May 8th, down 0-3 to the Auckland Ghost, then 6 of the next 7 games, a country climbing back with her on every point. A Vatican walk where she told the world, in her own words, "We really are everywhere." Alex Eala did not just win 2 tennis matches in Rome. She ended a 58-year silence, exorcised the opponent who broke her heart in January, and retraced her own bloodline through the streets of the Eternal City, all inside 7 days of being told her clay game did not belong on this tour. Now the question, can Eala actually beat Elena Rybakina, world number 2, Wimbledon champion, one of the most dominant frontrunners in the sport, and become the first Filipino in history to reach the Rome round of 16? Stake your claim in the comments. Straight set shocker? 3-set thriller? Or does the Rybakina wall finally hold? The boldest prediction in the comment section gets pinned when the result drops. If you want to be on the record before the Rybakina match, not after, if you want your prediction timestamped while the rest of the world is still figuring out who she is, subscribe now. Every Eala match this clay swing gets broken down here within hours of the final point. Roland Garros starts May 24th. You do not want to be the person catching up. You want to be the person who called it.